73 years ago, a sleepy little central New York town held its first Grand Prix around a true street circuit, and in 1961, its new purpose-built circuit became the first permanent home of the United States Formula One Grand Prix. A circuit known as much for its speed as for its blue Armco that still rings the track, much as it did when our drivers' heroes like Mario Andretti, Jackie Stewart, and Francois Servet sought the ultimate pace and in some cases paid the ultimate price. Tonight, we travel to the mecca of North American road racing and its 3.4 miles of power and fury. Welcome to Watkins Glen International and the finale of the Ray Esports Racing League's second season, right here on Apex Racing TV. With Avery McDonald joining me now in the announce booth and Dennis Branch manning the controls, I'm Greg Ginsberg, and welcome everybody to Watkins Glen. And while our Spec Racer 4 drivers, they wrapped up their season last week at Sonoma Raceway, tonight we've got our Pro Formula Mazda drivers and our Mazda MX-5 racers strapping in for the sixth and final time this season. And Avery, there's a lot on the line in both classes.
Oh, there's a lot on the line. The points battle is just very, very tight from top to the bottom. Maybe not so much in this Pro Mazda series with Tyler Campbell, who's been kind of the dominant driver all season, but still battles throughout the whole standings, and it's gonna be fun. This is a fun track. It always has some good racing, and you got two of the races on tap for tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And so as we are now just about 5 minutes, about a third of the way through our 15-minute qualifying session, of course, our normal format here for the regular season in the Ray Esports Racing League is 15 minutes of open qualifying and then a 20-minute sprint to the checkered flag. And so we're just about a third of the way through here. You can see where our drivers are doing in their first couple of laps here at the Glen in qualifying. They've been out already on track for about 75 minutes practicing. But Avery, as long as we've got a few moments, why don't we take a look back to the last time our Pro Mazda drivers ran here with the Ray Esports Racing League, and that was 2 weeks ago, round 5 at Lime Rock Park, where, as you mentioned, Tyler Campbell, who has really been the class of the field here in the Ray Esports Racing League, he did take the win at Lime Rock, and I believe that that was his fourth out of 5 wins, or fourth win out of 5 rounds. Jamison Huffman finished in second. John Vogel took the last step on the podium, and then we had a newcomer, Giancarlo Schooler. He finished in fourth with Antonio Guarda, who started all the way back in 7th. He finished 5th, and then we had some hard chargers, finishing 6th. Edgar Sancinelli actually started 12th on the grid, made his way up, had a great run for him. And so let's take a look at the points here in Pro Mazda as we come into the very last round here. And I might add that we are going to have one more event this season. That's going to be next week at Road America for the runoffs, a winner-take-all championship event. But tonight is the last night for the regular season, and your leader currently in points, as we mentioned, Tyler Campbell. He has 124 points, considerably ahead of the rest of the field, with Morgan Burkhardt second, then John Vogel, who 2 weeks ago actually leapfrogged Charles Vaccaro to take over third place. He's got a 2-point advantage over Vaccaro. Vaccaro had been third going into our last round. Antonio Guarda, he goes and leapfrogs Andrew Wozencroft to go into a tie for 5th with Wayne Buttermore. Wozencroft now in a tie for 7th. So we can see lots of real tight running here as we walk down through the field. And even back with Justin Huffman, Joaquin Effinger running 9th and 10th currently. They both gained 2 positions in the final order in that last race. So again, even though I think we can agree that our top 2 positions probably have been wrapped up tonight, although depending on how Morgan Burkhardt does this evening, Avery, there is a chance that we may have somebody else on the second step here, second in the points this season. So Burkhardt's going to have to run a good race, as he only has an 8-point advantage currently over Vogel, and not much more than Vaccaro or Guarda at this point either.
Yeah, he just needs to have a good solid run to maintain that second spot, and You know, with Jamison, he's either up in the front or collected up his old man, Justin. But Justin's not in the sessions right now, so at least he won't have to worry about wrecking his dad.
There you go. Yeah, we're talking about the two All Sports Racing teammates of Morgan Burkhardt in the number 40 machine, currently running second in qualifying. Just about 0.2 of a second off of our provisional pole sitter, Tyler Campbell, and Jamison Huffman in the number 89 machine. We typically see Jamison's father, Justin, running with us as well. His father races what is called a Formula Enterprises 2 car, which is powered by Mazda Pistons. In real life, actually finished second in the SCCA National Championship runoffs about 3 years ago at Sonoma Raceway, but doesn't look like he's going to be with us this evening here for our last round at Watkins Glen. Now, big change here, or not a big change, but as we mentioned, we had John Vogel, who finished third 2 weeks ago at Lime Rock, and he has his brother joining us for I believe the first time this season. That's Grant Vogel, and you can see how close they are on track right now. Here, Grant about half a second off of John at the moment, but running 4th and 5th here in qualifying. We have just about 5 minutes remaining.
Yeah, it's cool to see some sibling action here on the racetrack here at Watkins Glen, and they're close to each other, so you know they're gonna have to utilize each other to work up towards that front, because that toe is super important here. That's gonna be a big key to not only this Pro Mazda race but the MX-5, is you gotta maintain the lead pack draft.
That is absolutely key here at Watkins Glen. There are, when you think about it, at speed, only a limited number of places, you know, your traditional braking corners where you'd, you know, brake hard and make it pass. A lot of very high-speed corners here. So using that draft, absolutely critical so that you can pop out, get alongside, going into a corner with drivers, of course, going into the inner loop, what is known as the bus stop, turn 5. Is going to be absolutely critical along the back straight here at Watkins Glen. Also coming down into the heel of the boot. Of course, the boot section added for Formula One back in 1971. There, as we throw up the track map, you can see on the lower right-hand side of the course, the heel of the boot is just where I believe we've got the number 3 car there of Huffman going in, and yeah, again, that corner absolutely critical. Now, you know, the thing about the Glen is that a lot of the corners here, they really promote speed. They're heavily cambered. They kind of suck you into the corner and they help you on through. One of the only corners that doesn't, and we just saw Jamison Huffman come out of it just a little bit ago, is turn 9, the corner that brings you out of that boot section. It's off camber. It's a very late turn in. You exit right up against the Armco. It's very, very difficult to get a good run out of there, and it's also very difficult to time it correctly so you don't hit something, frankly. But you know, otherwise, this whole course here, almost every corner, and you can see a lot of the corners here as we follow right now on track Thor Tulo in the number 10 car. Ooh, and there you go. Just as I mentioned, turn 9, how you can get it wrong. Thor Tulo puts his car right into the Armco. But I was going to mention so many of these other corners you can see where they have where they've got concrete patches. It's essentially where the race cars load up on the pavement, and it actually breaks up the asphalt, like right here as we follow Beans Foster in the number 4 machine. I think this is the first time that Beans has been with us here, Benjamin Forster, pardon me, and you know, it essentially keeps the pavement from breaking up. So they put the concrete patches in there just as he comes through the heel of the boot right there. But everything to promote speed here at Watkins Glen.
Oh yeah, a lot of speed here at the Glen. I've been a part of many races here with multiple types of cars, and you get into an open wheel car here at Watkins Glen, either going through the S's or just going through the inner loop. You're carrying a lot of speed into these corners, and you got to make those decisions so quick, because before you know it, you're in the next turn, and it's just probably has a good chance for some of the best racing we're going to see all season long, and it happens to be the final race of the regular season.
There you go, and with just about a minute left to go in qualifying, we're on board right now with Jamison Huffman, driver of the number 89 machine, and he is only a couple tenths off of the front row right now, and as we follow here, you can see how he tries to use literally every inch of the pavement to try and open up these turns and carry speed. Had a little bit of a bobble there coming out of turn 1, going into the uphill S's, but you can see here how fast things come at you at Watkins Glen, and after a while you just kind of get this tunnel vision with that blue arm coast so close on both your left and right sides. Basically everywhere you go, as he comes out of that bus stop, goes into what is known as the outer loop and down, and makes the run down into the boot section. I believe that was Wayne Buttermore that he passed, and Buttermore made it pretty easy for him so that he can keep on this flying lap.
And good to see Wayne now here on the racetrack doing a really good job this season. He's just one of the regulars that drives as many races as he can, and really good to see him back out on this track. And the qualifying timer is up, so these drivers are finishing their last flying lap. And I mean, Huffman, he had a real fast sector 1. We'll see if he's gonna be able to maintain the speed, and there's probably an off track, and
that'll probably end up
disallowing
the lap, although he'd gotten up right behind his teammate Morgan Burkhardt to try and get a tow, but got a little sloppy there towards the end. That lap time most likely will be disallowed as they come through the final turn, through turn 11 onto the front straight, where they will take the checkered flag and end their qualifying session. So we do still have a couple of drivers out on course. Oh, there are the two teammates getting together to end the session there. And we're on board right now with the number 35 machine. That's Kyle Vallejos, currently sitting back in 7th. And he has just a couple corners left to go. I believe Charles Vaccaro, and the two Vogel brothers, the only drivers that are left on course. And when I told you that they drive very similar lap times, all right, so right now they are about half a second apart. The last time they went by, we had a 1:44.77 and a 1:44.55, about 0.2 of a second separating them. But those two drivers, they typically wait until the very last moments of a qualifying session to put in a fast lap. And we're on board right now with Grant Vogel as he makes his way around the last couple corners here. A little bit of a bobble, but manages to keep the car on course. There in the number 11 machine, as he crosses the stripe, does he get any better? No, he is going to finish qualifying 5th fastest in the field. All right, so Avery, we're getting ready for our 20-minute sprint race in Pro Mazda. This race brought to you by RaceVoice, and RaceVoice, that they are proud to, for the 2nd season, sponsor the Ray Esports Racing League, and they want to take your driving to the next level with on-track audible performance alerts in both your real car and the virtual car, where you can hear miles per hour, turn and entry speeds, upshift alerts, and other performance metrics. If you want to go faster with the speed of voice, and you can find out more information about their products at racevoice.com. All right, so Avery, we should have the field starting to grid up here in just a moment. Our pole sitter is going to be Tyler Campbell, and here comes the field. Let's now go, and Avery, why don't you tell us where everybody's starting?
Well, starting first, like you said, the Season 2 champion, Tyler Campbell, followed by Morgan Burkhardt and his teammate Jamison Huffman, and the leader of the Vogel brothers, it's John Vogel, in 4th, and Grant Vogel 5th. Benjamin Forrester in 6th, Kyle Vallejos 7th, Andrew Rosencroft 8th, Charles Vaccaro 9th, Antonio Guarda in 10th, Andrew Benaw 11th, Thor Tulo from the Ridge Motorsports Group is in 12th, Joaquin Effinger 13th, and rounding out the field, the bright pink and purple, number 73, Wayne Buttermore. I love seeing that car out on this track, Greg. I like bright colors, and I've always liked Wayne's car.
Yeah, it's got a real neat livery on it. All right, so we've got the rest of the field. You can see them now popping into view as they get on the grid. A little bit smaller field here for the last round of the season. Here we have primarily the drivers that are looking to move up in the order, and as we saw, real tight competition here once you get past Tyler Campbell, and we never know how things are going to end up. I think we have one more driver waiting to appear. That's Antonio Guarda, and when he does, we will start that pace lap around the 3.4 mile 11-turn Watkins Glen International. Now you'll notice here as the drivers head down into turn one, and I think we saw this when we had Jamison Huffman on board, that at the end of the front straight here going into turn one, what used to years ago be a very large gravel trap, primarily for NASCAR, they paved over the whole thing, and frankly, having additional pavement there helps slow these cars down quite a bit, but it allows you to really open up that first turn and carry speed down the hill before you start your way up through the uphill S's, and it makes for some great, sometimes 3, sometimes 4 wide racing on the opening lap. So we'll have to see if our drivers take advantage of that large paved area there, as our pace car now brings the field around for that pace lap. Again, Tyler Campbell, your pole sitter, with Morgan Burkhardt starting right beside him on the outside of the front row, our top 2 points getters this season in the Ray eSports Racing League.
Yeah, you'll notice on the start, it starts off 2 wide, but can easily go 3 to 4 wide. But then you get into these S's where everything's just going to get all tightened back up, and that's a spot on the track where carnage could happen. But this long straight with the S's this is where you're going to carry a lot of speed and have a good opportunity to make some moves as you come into the second passing point on this track. So I've been excited for this race for a long time, Greg.
I can definitely hear it in your voice, Avery. So as they come out of the S's and make the run down the back straight here at Watkins Glen into the inner loop, into the bus stop chicane here, I've seen passes made from the inside, I've seen passes made from the outside here as well, but the challenge is always to make sure that you don't get too aggressive, turn back in to the second half of that chicane. I've seen a lot of cars go off into the tire wall, drivers left, before they get to this section here, the outer loop. So, it's always, that's just that little bit of finesse, that little bit of caution in your, in all of your decisions here at Watkins Glen, because, as opposed to a lot of the other racetracks, again, last week we were at Sonoma Raceway, where if you go off track, there's usually a pretty long way to go before you get to anything. Same thing at Lime Rock Park, where these racers last raced 2 weeks ago. And here at Watkins Glen, you can see it. There's that blue Armco. It is only half a car width to a full car width off the side of the track here. Not a lot of margin for error.
Yeah, you gotta be so cautious on these track limits. It's just crazy how different what they would call the Cup circuit and the boot circuit is with how wide the track is. So, we're just gonna see how it works. You got to be paying attention the whole time. There's no parts of this track you can really take a little cat nap on. So,
no, not at all.
We'll have to just see what these drivers are gonna do for this 20-minute final race of their regular season.
All right, so the pace car now bringing them out of turn 10. They've, out of turn 9. They've got 2 more corners, and then we will have the start of our 20-minute sprint race. Again, with Tyler Campbell and Morgan Burkhardt here on the front row, and as soon as they make that final right-hand turn onto the front straight, our pace car should dip in to the pit lane. Let's take a look here as they come on through, and now the pace car will make that hard right onto the pit lane, and now the green flag is in the air, and we are off. Tyler Campbell, and you can see now already 4, almost 5 wide, as we've got, looks like Guarda trying to come all the way up the inside as Tyler Campbell sticks center of track. He holds on to the position. We've got both Huffman and Burkhardt as they come through, and now side by side in the battle for 4th position, we've got John Vogel and Kyle Vallejos as Grant Vogel gets caught out at the start. Both Vallejos and Andrew Benna get past him, and now we come out of the S's. All of our cars clear through. Tyler Campbell, he's got the inside position going into the bus stop. Then we've got Morgan Burkhardt right beside him, and now trying to make a move up the outside is John Vogel. He got up right beside Jamison Huffman, but has to drop back as they come through the chicane, probably come through the bus stop and start to head down into the boot for the first time, Avery.
Yeah, I tell you what, Campbell had the great opportunity to keep that pass, but man, John Vogel, very good car control, and he's on the right side of Jamison Huffman, because you're going into that inner loop, there's a good opportunity for cars to, the track just tightens up really quick, but Campbell's going to lead us in the boot, and it's single file all the way through.
All right, and we can see there is Grant Vogel trying to make up some of the positions that he lost. Andrew Benna, and he gets around Benna now going down into the heel of the boot. Benna having a great start, even after losing that position there. Made up 4 positions on the start. Started 15th, started 11th, moved up into 7th position. But now the 11 Grant Vogel, he's got a lot of ground to make up to get up to Kyle Vallejos running in 5th as our leaders come around the final turn, turn 11, onto the front straight to complete the very last lap. And it is Tyler Campbell, Morgan Burkhardt, and then about 4 car lengths back, we've got Jamison Huffman, and he's got John Vogel all over the back of him, and you can see the drivers using all of that pavement on the exit of the 90 for the turn 1 here at Watkins Glen as they start to make their way up the hill through the S's a little bit. And now Morgan Burkhardt once again, great run out of the S's, side by side with our leader Tyler Campbell, and Morgan Burkhardt for the moment now takes over the lead later on the brakes going into the bus stop. So Morgan Burkhardt gets around Tyler Campbell, and Avery, we haven't seen many races where Tyler Campbell has given up the lead here.
Oh, we haven't seen that happen very often, but that's kind of one of those give and take moments. It's lap 2 of a 20-minute race. We're going to see about 11 laps here at Watkins Glen, but you know, sometimes you force the issue too early, your car ends up being junked, and I think that's a little bit of what Tyler Campbell was doing. Yeah, he's a little over a second back now, but if he can catch up to Burkhardt, it'll be a 2-car battle, because that's if Huffman will be able to hang on to him.
All right, we're on board following right now Andrew Benna, currently running in 7th. He's got Beans Forster right back behind him in the number 4 machine. Charles Vaccaro now side by side with Antonio Guarda just back behind them. That is the battle for 9th position, and now almost going around, going into turn 9 is the 221 machine. That was Charles Vaccaro, so he's going to drop all the way to the back of the field, Avery. Hard to see there.
Oh yeah, you got to be super cautious right there. But man, look at Andrew Benna up 4 spots. He was up 5 at when he was ahead of Grant Vogel on the first lap, putting on a really good run. And with Benjamin Forrester, first time seeing him here at the eSports Series, and wow, it's going wide. Is Benna? You want to utilize the track and exit turn 1, but you got to be kind of cautious so you don't scrub too much.
Yeah, Benna almost ended up in Montour Falls there for a moment. He went so wide coming through the 90 as we jump back over right now to the battle for 3rd. And Jamison Huffman made up a lot of ground. Last time we checked in at the end of lap number 1, Jamison Huffman and John Vogel had been about 3, maybe 4 car lengths back, but Huffman now is kind of left John Vogel back behind, and he's right up in that battle for the lead with Burkhardt and Tyler Campbell as we jump back now to that battle for 7th. And looks like Guarda has gotten into the game here, has gotten around Beans Forster, so move Forster now back into 9th.
And Guarda being real aggressive in that 43 car. And it's side by side. You see it's Benna and
it looks like we had a car off there a little bit further back, and I think that was Kyle Vallejos in the number 35 machine that had a problem. And yeah, and he's gone and taken his car into the pits trying to get that fast repaired. Oh, and going around at is that over at turn 9? There goes Andrew Benna putting the car around. Lots of issues there, and turn 9 seems to be the corner presenting everybody issues here at Watkins Glen tonight, as we now have Jamison Huffman battling with Tyler Campbell for second position. And for the moment, Jamison Huffman from the All Sports Racing team, he gets around Tyler Campbell. So it is now the two teammates of Morgan Burkhardt, Jamison Huffman running first and second.
Yeah, if you're Morgan Burkhardt, that's what you want to see. But you see Tyler Campbell says, I want to get back up in the second, and we'll see. I'm going to have to back up.
That is rough, as we had Jamison Huffman come to the inside, go and come right across Tyler Campbell under braking. But now you can see here, Jamison Huffman puts the car around, having issues at the inner loop, and he's going to lose a number of positions. So now it looks like Morgan Burkhardt, he's lost his wingman, Avery.
The wingman is gone, and now he's going to try to set sail solo from Tyler Campbell, and that's a tough task.
Yeah, I don't know if we can get a replay on that, but you know, it looked to really be an issue there as Huffman came right across Campbell's nose. Drivers left to set up for the inner loop, and here we go. Let's take a look at the replay here, and just was never able to get the car settled down going into the bus stop. He got around Burkhardt, carried a little bit of speed there, and you can see he popped over the curbing on that first left-hander, and it really unsettled the car. All right, so let's go back to the live action now. And here is the battle. I believe this is the battle for sixth, where we've got, or probably the battle for fifth, where we got Beans Forster in the number 4 machine. Right behind him in that white machine is Andrew Wozencroft. That's the number 80 machine. And then right behind, Antonio Guarda. And so a real tight battle there for fifth here in the RaceSports Racing League, as we are working lap number 5.
Yeah, Wozencroft put on a really good run, but back up to the front, it's Burkhardt and Campbell through the S's. This is going to be the opportunity for Campbell to get back to the lead, and we'll have to see if he'll try to make moves.
Yeah, and we've seen it in both cases. One when Burkhardt took the lead originally from Campbell, and also that last time by, when you're the trailing car, you can carry a lot of speed. You got that draft coming all the way up through the S's, and it almost slingshots you into position going into the bus stop. But this time, Tyler Campbell, he is content to sit back behind Burkhardt and maybe try to rattle Burkhardt a little bit here as we jump back again in this battle for fifth. And this is a great fight going on here between Forster, Wozencroft, and Guarda. We could see the three of them all moving and shaking here as Wozencroft comes up, tries to go over-under, going down into the boot. And he was up side by side going into the chute into turn 6. And now as they crawl back out, and it's really, you can see there how steep that entry back out of the toe of the boot is. And it's critical that you get it right, because it means you're either going to carry speed or not carry speed into the heel. And we can see there as Antonio Guarda got a much better run and dropped Wozencroft now down into 7th, moved Guarda up into 6th. Oh! And there you go, turn 9 rears its ugly head again. That's Antonio Guarda. He goes off coming out of the boot, and he's into the wall, and he is into the pits. And that's a shame there. What was a 3-car battle is now 2. And let's take a look at the replay as they come up out of the toe. And we're going to see now as they come into turn 9. And yeah, you know, it looked like he had it. And he just, he repositioned the front wheels there and just shot right towards the wall.
Yeah, the car looked a little unsettled going into the corner, but what this battle is going on now is the Campbell is overtaken for Burkhardt. And whenever you get a good, easy overtake like that, I mean, it wasn't easy by no means, but
Burkhardt didn't defend it. Yeah. He didn't defend it really strong there. And so Tyler Campbell moves back into the lead here on lap 6 as we're just about halfway through this 20-minute sprint race. So, you know, get a lot of time there for Burkhardt if he wants to attempt to get back by. We can see that entrance to the bus stop is pretty much the key spot here at Watkins Glen for these drivers. And, you know, again, you know, with that long run essentially coming out of turn 11 and looping all the way back around onto the back straight, it's almost one long straightaway for these drivers where you really get caught up in the draft. So we drop a little bit further back right now and look at the battle between, and, you know, again, you know, Avery, how many races have we seen Wayne Buttermore and Joaquin Effinger the 700 machine of Effinger, the 73 of Buttermore, we've seen them nose to tail fighting it out for position. It doesn't matter if it's the Pro Mazdas, it could be Spec Racer Ford, it could be MX-5 as well. These two seem joined at the hip at every single venue, in every single car.
That's what makes this series great. You know, you don't have to be the fastest person in the race, but you're always racing against somebody, and it always happens to be these two drivers, Effinger and Buttermore. And you know, it's always good to see. It's like, is Buttermore going to get him this week, or is Effinger going to get him? It's just a great battle, and makes us part of the reason that makes this league so great.
You know, and right now Buttermore, he is currently tied for 5th in the points here in Pro Mazda. Joaquin Effinger sitting 10th, but I'll tell you, they're not all that far apart. About 15 points separate the two drivers as we jump back now to the battle for 5th with Beans Forster and Andrew Wozencroft, as they are now side by side coming into the bus stop. And for the moment, Beans Forster in the number 4 machine. He's got the position there. Takes a real tight line into the outer loop. We'll see if he can hold that as they come now down the chute into the boot area here. And looks like Beans Forster is going to be able to make that stick.
Yeah, they're all trying a couple different lines. You see Wozencroft just get a little bit later apex there than Forster. So trying different lines, it's good to see, instead of just trying to do the same thing over and over again. Because sometimes that doesn't always work out. But I mean, Wozencroft really wants that final spot in the top 5. Or go back to a replay of Andrew Benaw.
Yeah, and of course Benaw had that early crash, and it looks like that car's still not all that happy as he comes into the bus stop and he loops the car, goes into the gravel trap, and he will continue. So not a good evening for Andrew Benaw as we jump back to this battle for 5th. And with a great run out of the final corner, out of 11, Wozencroft in that white number 80 machine. He pulls up, well, it looked like for a moment he pulled up alongside Forster. He had to give up a little bit of pace there when he yanked the car to the inside on Forster coming out of the final corner. Lost a little bit of momentum, but let's see if he can pick that up in the draft here. And you see, once again, there are a lot of corners, Avery, where it looks like Wozencroft gets a little bit better exit speed than Forster, but you know, he's in some cases a little bit too close to the gearbox of that black number 4 and has to check up, and you know, just can't get a run.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened for the battle for the lead. The last lap, Campbell ran 3 seconds slower than Burkhardt, and the gap's 2.8 seconds. So we'll have to see if Campbell's going to be able to run him down.
All right, well, let's take a look here, and I think we've got the replay as they now come towards the bus stop, and let's see, does Tyler Campbell get it right? And and he loses the car going through the bus stop, goes and gets it. A great recovery there from Tyler Campbell, but he loses, as you mentioned, almost 3 seconds in the exchange there with Morgan Burkhardt. And here they come out of the boot. Morgan Burkhardt, as you can see, with almost 8 car lengths on our former leader, Tyler Campbell.
Yeah, Tyler Campbell's got to have the head down and start chugging, because there's 6 minutes to go here at Watkins Glen. And I tell you what, he wants this win more than anything now, to lose the lead, to go back 3 seconds. I mean, if you can pull this off, but as you take a look on the timing tower, Burkhardt about 2/10 quicker that last lap around.
Yeah, and you know, John Vogel, he was also about 2,500ths off of Campbell's times, but he's kind of lurking there. Vogel certainly looking for a little bit better. Now, Vogel currently sitting 3rd in the points, Burkhardt 2nd in the points. Again, only 8 points separating our 1st and 3rd place runners right now. And so, you know, obviously Vogel wants to stay in the hunt there. If something befalls Burkhardt, that could elevate him to 2nd in the points. As we now look at Forster and Wozencroft side by side going into the bus stop. Forster manages, does he hold on to the car? Look at this, can he keep a hold of it? And he does. Let's see now if Forster can manage to hold off Wozencroft after having those little bobbles there. And, you know, I think Wozencroft is giving a lot of room right now to Beans Forster. There, Wozencroft not able to take advantage of the of that bobble as we jump back to the eternal battle between Joaquin Effinger and Wayne Buttermore.
Yep, the battle between Effinger and Buttermore is on fire.
Yeah, and a big thing here, Avery, is that Wayne Buttermore has gotten around Joaquin Effinger. Last time we checked in with them, the number 700 car was running in 8th position, and Buttermore has taken over that position now.
Yeah, he just putting on a really good effort. I mean, but if you want to maintain 8th, you gotta get on that boogie pedal and pull away, because you know Effinger is totally capable of making a pass. And here we go. Here's the replay.
Let's take a look and see what happened as they come out of the S's, and surprise, surprise, heading down towards the bus stop, heading towards the inner loop, under braking, and Buttermore had the position going in and has a little bit of a bobble there, hits the inside of the curbing, but fairly easily takes over that position going into the bus stop. And you can see how that draft really comes into play as we jump back now once again to the battle for 5th. With Beans Forster and Andrew Wozencroft, and as they now come out of the S's, let's see if Wozencroft can get that jump. Forster, he's got position going in. He's going to be the lead car going in. Can he hold off Wozencroft? And he does once again. And the one driver we haven't really said much about, Avery, it's Grant Vogel. He's currently running in 4th, and there he is all by his lonesome. He's about 8 seconds back from brother John, and 6 seconds ahead of that battle that we've been watching between Forster and Wozencroft, just keeping his head down, running a consistent race. So I figured we'd just check in with him for a second. Maybe we can jump back to that battle between Forster and Wozencroft.
Yeah, there it is, that battle for the final spot in the top 5, and Beans Forster's putting on a really good run, but he's got Wozencroft just about a half second behind him, Greg, and Wozencroft goes around.
And going into, surprise, surprise, Avery, turn 9, and Wozencroft puts the car around, and he looks like he might have stalled it out. He's trying to get the car started back up. He's got a couple drivers coming through behind, but now Andrew Wozencroft, he gives up 6th position to Thor Tulo here, and luckily far enough ahead of both Joaquin Effinger and Wayne Buttermore does not give up another position. But that battle with Beans Forster, it is now done, and that gives Beans Forster a little bit of breathing room now, as he has almost 15, actually about 14 seconds advantage over Thor Tulo.
Yep, but that's unfortunate for him. But look at this battle. It's like you said, eternal battle. Buttermore versus Effinger. It's never over. And that's what's so great about these two drivers. They're always battling against each other, racing each other super hard and super clean. And here comes an opportunity for Buttermore to try to overtake Effinger.
And we'll take a look at this as we have the clock running down now.
Burkhardt lost time.
All right, let's take a look here. Yep, we have a new leader as Morgan Burkhardt. It looks like he might have spun the car. Tyler Campbell moving up the first. Let's take a look here as John Vogel is our new 2nd place runner, as we have just a minute left to go. So on just a lap and a half to go, Morgan Burkhardt puts the car out. Let's take a look here as they came through the chute going down into the boot. You can see Morgan Burkhardt with a heck of an advantage over Tyler Campbell. Gets loose under braking going into the toe of the boot, off into the grass, and that allows Tyler Campbell to retake the lead. John Vogel up to 2nd. Morgan Burkhardt falls back into 3rd position. And Avery, again, this could have big ramifications in the championship, as we are now on the very last lap. John Vogel, who came into the evening only 8 points behind Morgan Burkhardt, may be able to make up the position. And I've got to go back and go back into the rules and see how many points we make up for each position. But that may be enough for Vogel to retake 2nd in the point standings. And you can see here, John Vogel already getting defensive, going down into the bus stop, into the inner loop, trying to hold off Morgan Burkhardt. Had a little bit of the bob and weave there as they now come through, as Tyler Campbell now with a 5-second advantage on his very last lap. Let's watch this battle for second as they come now down to the scene of the crime, Avery, down through the short chute and over towards the toe of the boot.
Burkhardt's carried a lot of speed, and he's not quite there to make a pass, and this has the potential for a side-by-side to the finish line, because we'll see if Burkhardt's going to have enough speed. He might be able to try to make the overtake, but Vogel is defending.
And another and now Vogel not going to be able to make another move. He's caught to the inside. They're side by side coming through the heel of the boot. Burkhardt has position if he can get up alongside going into turn 9, and that's going to push Vogel all the way to the outside, which is a real tough move there. And there you go, Morgan Burkhardt retakes the position on the corner, and now Tyler Campbell, driver of the number 37 machine, he comes through the final corner. He is going to take the win, and I believe that's 5 out of 6 rounds for Tyler Campbell. And now coming under that sprint bridge and across the finish line, Morgan Burkhardt holds off John Vogel, retakes second, and that is how things will end up. John Vogel will finish in third. Grant Vogel now coming across the line. He will finish in fourth. Bean Forster will finish fifth. Thor Tulo. And it's going to be a few moments. I don't want to be presumptive at this point, but Thor Tulo, if he makes it through the final corner, he will finish in sixth. And there he is in the red number 10 machine, Andrew Rosencroft. Now let's jump back to the battle between Effinger and Buttermore, as now Joaquin Effinger gets around Wayne Buttermore at turn 9. And looks like Effinger in the number 700 machine. He's going to hold off Wayne Buttermore, and he will finish 9th. Effinger will finish 8th. Buttermore will finish in 9th.
That's why you never give up.
There you go. And Charles Vaccaro, who had issues earlier on in the race and then decides to flat spot his tires, he will finish in 10th. All right, so Avery, we should have some of our podium finishers coming in here in just a moment. And looks like, let's see, we've got I'll tell you what, we've got them sitting in here already. Let's bring in Morgan Burkhardt first, finishing second tonight in Pro Mazda.
And Morgan, what a spectacular race. And let me tell you what, you put on a really good effort, but just kind of take us through the battle between you and Campbell for the last, about 4 or 5 laps.
Well, I was trying to manage the gap to him, and every time that he would gain, I would just try and gain a little bit more in the next few corners and try and keep it above 2 seconds before he could really start getting the fringes of the toe.
Yeah, I think Greg kind of alluded to that. The toe was, not really in a factor till you got to about that 2.5 range, and yeah, just a really good effort for you. I know second place isn't what you wanted to get, but maintain second spot in the points, which is a good accomplishment. You got anything for the young man, Greg?
No, other than the fact that it was a great recovery by Morgan, real sorry to see that, as he had that great lead going into the final lap. But Morgan, tell you what, when you first took the lead away from Tyler Campbell going down into the bus stop, were you looking at basically getting ahead and just holding him off for the entire race, or was there maybe you figured that the two of you would just kind of swap positions a couple times and try and work your way from the rest of the field?
Well, I kind of wanted to go out and lead and control the pace. I didn't really want to let him back by until the final lap, and then we can play you go first. So yeah, I didn't really want to give it up.
All right, there you go. All right, and and unfortunately, I know you had your teammate Jameson there for a moment. Thought he was going to be a great wingman. Actually, went and took the lead for a moment there, but had some issues going into the bus stop, which opened things up again for you. But it was a great race tonight, Morgan, and hopefully we're going to see you in the MX-5s here in a few moments.
Yes, you will.
All right, there you go. So that is Morgan Burkhardt, driver of the number 40 machine, finishing second tonight in Pro Mazda, and I believe that also wraps up second for him in the championship. And so, Avery, let's bring in tonight's winner, Tyler Campbell.
Man, Tyler, I tell you what, Christmas is usually in December, but today your gift was given to you for the Morgan Burkhardt moving off the track. But just take us through that battle, because I mean, I was on my feet calling this race because I mean, one, I love this track, and that was a really good battle. So just take us through the battle throughout the whole race.
Oh yeah. So, I knew, coming into this race it was going to be all about the draft, especially in a pack like that. And that bus stop is tricky to try to pass at. So, I think a lot of it was just give and take. It's if you're coming up that hill, think somebody's going to get the run. Maybe one lap you see what they do, and kind of test them and see if they're going to lift, if you're going to lift. Maybe next lap you try it. And so, it was a lot of just like, okay, let's see what we can give and we can take as we, draft up the hill. Because, honestly, we were using the same setup, so neither of us were quite as much faster as the other. So, it was really who can get it and get the run coming out of the first corner. And if you can pull away on the rest of the track and actually get a gap, then you can run away with it, potentially, which is what I tried to do until I just nipped the curb right on the inside of the bus stop. And I don't know why. Sometimes I think I can hit that curb. You definitely can't, not in these cars. So there's some curbs you can go for. There's some that you can't. And man, the lap after that, I swear I hit every curb that you're not supposed to hit.
Yeah, you definitely can't hit the curbs, but you were able to maintain a clean car, and that was a big reason why you won. You're talking about how going through the inner loop, and on like lap number 2, you had an opportunity to really drive it and defend, and you kind of backed out a little bit. And yeah, you gave about a second away, but you drove right back up to him. So, a lot of strategy was involved in that 20-minute race. You're the season 2 champ, so congratulations, Tyler. It's been fun watching that Pro Mazda, but before we let you go, anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I'd love to thank my dad. He's again, I've said it before, he supported me throughout my whole, career, starting back when I was, 9 years old in go-karts, and the same age as Murphy and Morgan and Jameson. So, it's really exciting to race with these guys. At basically the start of their potential careers, and really really get to experience and get them some experience. And and they're quick. And so I think with that experience, I think it'll be good. And my dad's given me the opportunity to get that experience of my own. So, I wish the best for them as well.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations, Tyler, on the win. Good luck in the MX5 race.
Yeah, thanks guys. I'm gonna try it out. I'm really tired. I just but we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
Awesome.
All right, so there you go. Tyler Campbell, tonight's winner in Pro Mazda, also our season champion. And of course, Tyler, hopefully we'll see you next week at the runoffs from Road America. All right, so want to get things set up. Again, we do have our Mazda MX-5 race coming up next, presented by Driver61. But first, we're going to take a small commercial break, get set up for that next race, and we'll be right back. You are watching the Ray Esports Racing League round number 9, the season finale here from Watkins Glen International. We'll be right back.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfalla.
And Ray Alfalla is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
And we're back here at Watkins Glen International for the final race of the season here, season number 2 of the Ray Esports Racing League. I'm Greg Ginsberg along with Avery McDonald. And Avery, as we get set up, and we've got our MX5 drivers out for their 15-minute open qualifying session right now, let's go take a look at the one class that is not here this week, and that is Spec Racer Ford. They wrapped up their season a week ago at Sonoma Raceway, where Jamison Huffman took the win. Morgan Burkhardt finished in second. Just saw them a few moments ago in the Pro Mazdas. And then Stevie Ray, the Ray Esports Racing League, he finished on the last step of the podium with Brendan Horn and Andrew Benna finishing 4th and 5th. And if we take a look at how the points played out and who our series champion was, it was Stevie Ray with a total of 121 points, with a margin of 11 points over Morgan Burkhardt. Another 15 points back from there was Jamison Huffman. They were our top 3. Zach Burke finished 4th with 86 points, and then Greg Mack, Andrew Wozencroft, and Andrew Benna, Bryce Evans, Mike Taylor, and Brennan Horn, who he finished 10th in the points, made up 5 positions in the points in the very last week at Sonoma Raceway. So great running there at the end, and I think owes a lot to that finish that he had coming in 4th a week ago. So let's jump over now to the MX5 drivers, and we have just about 2 minutes remaining in qualifying, Avery. So real quick, let's take a look at where we stand. The last time they were here was last week at Sonoma Raceway as well. Taking the win was Jack Tranter, and Jack, I believe, has come away with 4 wins this season. I do not see Jack in the field, however. Owen Watts, his very first time racing with us. He's out of the San Francisco region of the SCCA. I don't believe he is here with us tonight either. Then finishing third was Ethan Lamp, also out of the San Francisco region that they all call, and those are guys that race the real race cars there out at Sonoma, know that track incredibly well. I guess you'd call them ringers. Kyle Vallejos finished fourth, Greg Mack finished fifth, and let's take a look where we stand in the points coming into this very final round here, and things are very, very tight. Now, Jack Tranter, as I mentioned, multiple wins. He has 100 points, and he is 27 points clear of Jordy Fike in the championship. Morgan Burkhardt, though, only 4 points ahead of Greg Mack. And Greg Mack, last week, based on his finish, moved up 6 positions in the points, moved from 10th to 4th. And he is only, again, 4 points back, but real close right behind him. A tie for 5th with Charles Vaccaro, and lots of changes in the points here from Sonoma. Vaccaro moved up 4 positions in the point standings. Wozencroft moved up 7 positions in the point standings. They are tied for 5th. Then we've got Zach Burke, who, people move up, some people have to move down. Zach Burke lost 4 spots in the championship, and actually, and I think we have this incorrect on the screen here. Greg Brockway right now actually has 1 more point, has 40 points, so he is sitting in 7th. Zach Burke is sitting in 8th position, and then Justin Hilly and Brendan Horn rounding out the top 10 in the points as the checkered flag flies here at Watkins Glen International. I know we didn't catch a lot of the qualifying there, but we're going to run down the grid in just a moment. Some old favorites here sitting up at the top of the field, and it should be a great race as our final drivers making their way around the course, trying to improve their positions. We see the 73 machine there crossing the stripe of Wayne Buttermore, and a few of the we've got the 09 and the 45, the 2 teammates, Jordy Fike and Brennan Horn. And here is a huge surprise, Avery, on the very last lap. Brennan Horn jumps all the way up to pole position, turns in a 2:09.33, a full second clear of, not a second, pardon me, a 1/10 of a second clear of the rest of the field. Is that right? We're showing that as 1/1100ths, but I'm showing that, oh yeah, actually I was looking at the very last lap. So yeah, 1/10 of a second separating Horn and Peak. So as our drivers are going to start gridding up here, we have a very large field. We've got, looks like a 22, possibly 24 car field. It looks like John Weschler, who I actually spun him in his rookie race at Summit Point Raceway almost 11 years ago. John Weschler in the number 28 machine. I don't know if he's going to make the grid. It doesn't look like he put a lap in qualifying. And Jamison Huffman looks like he did not turn in a lap time either. We'll see if he makes the grid. But our drivers should be lining up here in just a moment. And when they do, we'll run down the grid and send them on their way for their pace lap for this, the finale in Mazda MX-5 in the Ray Esports Racing League. This race brought to you by Driver61, and we want to thank the folks from Driver61 for sponsoring our second season here of the Ray Esports Racing League. They offer unique sim racing and real-world coaching programs aimed at taking you to the podium in the fastest possible time. Driver61 offers a 4-week masterclass to help drivers improve their techniques as efficiently as possible, and they go over core techniques to aid both beginner and advanced drivers. They offer a number of different other coaching programs as well, using both the simulator, and of course they hope to improve real-life racing skills. You can find out more about all of their offerings at driver61.com. So Avery, let's go and run down the starting grid here for MX-5.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm surprised a little bit by the speed of Brennan Horn, but he has picked up so much pace in the last couple weeks. But Brennan Horn, that Team eSports driver, is leading him to the green flag, Greg. He's gonna have to have a little bit of help from his Team eSport driver starting second, Mitchell Peak. And they got Morgan Burkhardt going to try to improve from earlier's Pro Mazda race. Then Jordy Fike 4th, Reed Chanabrook 5th, Greg Mack 6th, Kyle Robinson 7th, Remy Esperance in 8th, Sam Tully 9th, Greg Brockway 10th. He's in a tight points battle. Then got Charles Vaccaro and Andre Jameson in row 6. Down to row 7, you got Bryce Evans, Tyler Campbell, who won the Pro Mazda race earlier today, and like he said, he's a little tired and he hasn't ran the Mazda much, so he's just gonna try to give it a go, and I like to see that. And then you got Edgar Sansorelli in 15th, Andrew Rosencroft's 16th, Thor Tulo and Mike Taylor gonna round out row number 8. And they got Benjamin Forrester and Joe Camarelli in 20th, Wayne Buttermore, and surprise, Joaquin Effinger in 22nd. Those two are gonna give it another good battle, and I'm excited for that. Then you got Jamison Huffman, who might make the grid, and then John Weschler, as Greg has stated. Greg has spun him out in his rookie season. And then John Casey, I'm not sure if he's going to make the field. I know was talking about not making it.
Yeah, it looks like Casey made it, as did Jamison Huffman, John Weschler. Maybe I scared him off. Who knows? All right, so the pace car is out on the field, bringing our field around here, and while we have them making their way around this 3.4 mile 11 turn pace lap, wanted to of course, just plead with you, if you like what you see here tonight, go ahead and please give us a thumbs up here on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to Apex Racing TV and click on that notification bell. You can find out about all the great racing action that Apex Racing TV provides from all over the world. I just saw that we've got a new series starting up for Norwegian racers. Of course, we have a lot going down in Australia, and of course all of our European series as well, plus all the great action here in North America. So go ahead and click subscribe, and then hit that notification bell to find out about all the events coming up. And of course, if you want to find out more about Apex Racing TV's great content, you can find us on all the major social media platforms, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. All you got to do is search for Apex Racing TV, all one word, and there you'll have all that great action. As our pace lap now continues, the majority of the field coming through the inner loop, and about halfway done with the pace lap here, and we should get things underway as we're watching that number 80 machine of Wozencroft come through. I'm sure he's looking for a little bit of redemption after having that spin over at turn 9 in the Pro Mazda race. And but here I was just looking at the comments on YouTube here, and apparently Brennan Horn, I don't know how he goes out and races and qualifies, because he actually sees and picks up all our comments on YouTube also. But I guess he might have been a little offended when I said it was a huge surprise that he took the pole. But we'll see how this race plays out, as we've got the two teammates there, both Peak and Horn, sitting on the front row. And we'll see if they can hold off Morgan Burkhardt and Jordy Fike. Now, we also had Reed Chanabrook in the number 14 machine. I believe he finished on the podium just a few weeks ago when we were at the Charlotte Roval. We'll see if he can make his way back up there. He's going to be starting on the 3rd row in that green and yellow Mazda MX-5. And it should be a great battle that he puts on there, as the field now is making their way out of turn 9, starting to get formed up there. A little bit of a gap in the last 2 rows, but our front row, Brennan Horn, Mitchell Peak, they are side by side as they come out of turn 11, following that Porsche pace car. And as they come out of the very last corner, turn 11, onto the front straight, the pace car, he's going to make that hard right turn. There it is, onto the pit lane, and our pole sitter Brennan Horn has the field, and the course is green. Green flag in the air as our leaders now make their way down the very wide front straight here. You can see cars about halfway back in the field jockeying for position 5 wide as they come now down into the 90, into turn 1. and start to make their way through. Brendan Horn running very, very wide. Mitchell Peak in the 56. He gives him position just back from there. We've got Morgan Burkhardt and Jordy Fike side by side making it up through the S's. And we've now, it looks like Fike will settle in back behind Burkhardt. Then we've got Reed Shannabrook and Kyle Robertson, Remy Lesperance and Greg Mack as they now come onto the short chute down here, the back straight side by side. Still the two teammates, Horn and Peak, as they go under braking into the bus stop for the first time, and we'll see if all of our cars can filter through. And we do have a new leader. It is the 56 of Mitchell Peak. He leads Brennan Horn into the bus stop on lap number 1. Burkhardt, Fike, Robertson getting around Shannabrook, then Lesperance, Greg Mack, Sam Tully, Andre Jameson, who makes up 2 positions, sitting in 10th, Avery.
Peak put a good move into the inner loop and now onto the boot section of the racetrack. We're looking at Greg Brockway. He's got Sansorelli in front of him and Evans. Good battle there. I'd say pretty much good clean half a lap. I'm not going to say the whole lap because they're still going, but Brendan Horn, I tell you what, you know, he kind of took a little offense to the, being the starting on the pole, but he's doing a good job sitting in second place and right on his teammate. It's pretty much a tight battle, nose to tail from first all the way down to 24.
All right, so we didn't mention it here, but a big difference and a big change tonight in the Mazda MX-5s. Of course, iRacing had a big update just a couple days ago, I guess it was about a week ago, last Wednesday, for Season 3 of 2021. And what has happened is for the Mazda MX-5s, they've gone and introduced the sequential gearbox that the Global MX-5 Cup has been using now for the last season, as opposed to the original H-pattern box that came with these ND Mazda MX-5s. And you're going to see much quicker shifts, a lot less chance, obviously, of an over-rev or missing a gear. But it is something that these drivers now, as they are having probably their first race with the new configuration, will have to contend with here as our leaders make their way through the uphill S's. It is still Mitchell Peak with Brennan Horn, Morgan Burkhardt, and Jordy Fike with a little bit of a breakaway as Kyle Robinson in the number 23 machine. He got around that green and yellow number 14 of Reed Shannabrook with Lemmy Esperance right behind. And here we go. Look at this. Horn and Peak pushing each other, heading down into the bus stop from the inside lane. Peak managing to hold on to the position with Brennan Horn running a little bit wide and through the grass there, as we've got Burkhardt and Fike right behind. And then that second field. And there you go. Reed Shannabrook, the green and yellow. Did you notice that, Avery? It's got Bert and Ernie on the car. It's the Sesame Street car.
Oh, you like to see it. I am afraid of Elmo, so I'm glad he's not on the car.
No red Elmo there, but that is slick. All right, now making a move going down into the toe of the boot. The number 2 machine of Greg Mack cannot quite get up to the back of Remy Lesperance, and he is going to have to be content with 8th position for the moment. He started 6th, lost 2 positions on lap number 1 as our drivers make it through. And now we're looking at Jameson Huffman, who started at the tail end of the field. He made up 2 positions on the first lap. He just now gets around Thor Tulo, going down into the heel of the boot. Move Huffman up to 16th. He's made up 7 positions now in just 2 laps, but he's got a long way to go. He's still sitting back in 16th.
Yeah. Look at Brennan Horn, though, still maintaining good pace in that Team eSports racer car. And he's got Burkhardt right behind him, and Burkhardt's has a lot of speed in these cars, so we'll see if he's going to be able to try to make an overtake, but I wouldn't be surprised if these drivers just keep going single file, try to pull away a little bit, as Mitchell Peak has put down the fastest lap time so far.
Yeah, I think that would be the plan, but as you can see here, until you get to about midway back in the field, it looks like most of our drivers pretty content with just getting in line and using the draft, as Jameson Huffman runs a very wide coming through the 90 and manages to hold off the number that is the number 37 of Tyler Campbell right behind him. And Campbell currently running in 16th position. Huffman now up to 15th as our 3 leaders now coming out of the S's, going down into the bus stop. And Mitchell Peak, once again, he's going to lead the field through. Nice little 4-wheel drift through there, and he opens up about a car length and a half over his teammate Brennan Horn, and looks like Burkhardt might be bottled up just a little bit behind the 45 car, but just doesn't have anywhere to go with Jordy Fike along for that ride as well. Up and there you go. Reed Shannonbrook gets around Kyle Robinson now. So move Burt or Ernie or one of them up into 5th position, move Robertson back to 6th. But Robertson already had made up a position. Both he and Remy Esperance had gotten around Greg Mack here in the first couple laps.
Good battles all the way through, and this is another battle for 16. They got Mike Taylor trying to hold off Wozencroft in that number 66. And man, this is just a line of cars that, if you make a mistake, you're going back, and a lot of 2 wide situations here. Take a look at Evans, Jameson, and there's Huffman going to try to make a move too.
Yeah, there we go as they now come through turn 8 through the heel of the boot. And now look at that move there as we had Huffman pushed to the inside just a little bit by Edgar Sancinelli. But Huffman manages to get it done coming through turn 9. So now move Huffman up 1 more position to 13th. Your current hard charger, currently 10 positions overall here as the field, now the 37, going side by side into the final turn. That's Tyler Campbell with Thortulo, and still they have not figured out that position as they go down the front straight heading towards turn 1. And now we've got Wozencroft trying to pick a horse, and Wozencroft may pick neither, trying to go down the inside.
Yeah, they're starting to spread out as they go through turn number 1 and up to the S's. Remy with Greg Mack, Tully, and nice move on Robertson. He's going to be able to maintain it down the straightaway though.
Yeah, all right, as they come down the back straight, heading over towards the bus stop. Oh, getting real tight there, under braking there as the number 23 machine of Kyle Robertson tightens things up just a little bit on Greg Mack. But there you go, look at that going off. Kyle Robertson, the number 23 car, he runs into the grass, runs wide on the exit of the bus stop. He's going to lose 2 positions now as that allows Greg Mack to move up, also Sam Tully and also Charles Vaccaro, and drops Robertson back down into 10th.
Yeah, Greg Mack putting on a good run. He's down a spot, but I tell you what, speaking of moving up the field, Jameson Huffman up 12 spots. And he ain't done yet, Greg.
No, he definitely isn't. Next car in line is Kyle Robertson, who just had that off. And Huffman, again, having started at the rear of the field, I don't know if we want to, give him a whole bunch of credit as we normally see him start in the first 2 or 3 rows. But, it's a heck of a challenge in these very closely matched MX-5 race cars to start at the back of the field and to be able to, as we've mentioned here, passing, is somewhat difficult at Watkins Glen because of the high speeds that these cars carry. But he has made it work so far as we jump back to the battle for the lead. Still a 4-car battle with Mitchell Peak, Brennan Horn, Morgan Burkhardt, and Jordy Fike all nose to tail. And you watch that Reed Shannonbrook. He's starting to come up on our lead pack there. That last time by, Shannonbrook actually with a slightly faster lap time than our lead driver Mitchell Peak as they come through. And going off into the wall, coming out of turn 11 onto the front straight. That is the number 25 machine, Andre Jameson, and you can see lots of damage there to the right-hand side. He's now in the pits. The drivers, they do get 1 fast repair, but certainly that's going to hurt his chances here as our lead pack now going 2 by 2. Coming out of the S's, we've got Mitchell Peak and Morgan Burkhardt to the inside drivers right. We've got Brennan Horn and Jordy Fike to the outside. And look at this as they come through. And Brennan Horn, he's going to manage to hold off Morgan Burkhardt and actually gives Peak a little bit of an advantage coming out of the bus stop as we now look to our battles for 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th coming through. Shannonbrook, Les Bronze, Greg Mack, and Sam Tully. And you can see here, things are starting to break up into small little groups after that amount of time that we had everybody seemingly in one long train, Avery.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It starts to get to a little bit of a group, and then another little bit of a group, and that's what makes racing here at Watkins Glen. When you get 25, 24 drivers out, you're able to spread out and still have a good pack of racing, and that good pack of racing right here is that battle for 6th.
All right, as we're now halfway through this 20-minute battle. And here we go. Greg Mack trying to make the move on Remy Esperance, the number 13 machine, as they go under braking into this heavily cambered corner. And if Greg Mack can hold Esperance out, he may have an advantage going into turn 9, but it's always a challenge there because the number 13 car, he will have position and he can hold off Greg Mack, who now takes that slide through the grass. And is he going to impact the wall? Oh, he just misses the Armco there. And real close for Greg Mack, but Esperance manages to hold on to 6th position.
Able to hang on to that spot, Greg, and man, it's a good battle all the way around. And you're in line and trying to maintain good pace, but trying to move up the field. And speaking of in line, Brendan Horn, he's been staying in line of Mitchell Peak, and just past 11-minute mark here at Watkins Glen. So we'll see what the strategy is. He's been actually trying to push Mitchell Peak using that bumper to
it gives him a little shove. But that last time by, they went down into the bus stop side by side. And, I think Horn maybe, and you can see now Mitchell Peak very defensive, staying driver's right. I think the time has come that, no team orders at this point as they come through. And Mitchell Peak just, he's making sure that Brennan Horn, our pole sitter tonight, cannot take the point, cannot take the lead here. So we jump back a little bit further, and now you can see Greg Mack, he managed to get around Esperance, as now has Sam Tully getting around the number 13 car as well. Charles Vaccaro sitting back in the rear in that red and blue number 221 machine. But Greg Mack, now that he got clear of Esperance, is starting to open up a little bit of a gap back to 7th and 8th.
Yep, just a little bit of a gap. It's a good job by Greg Mack. It's about a second differential between 6th and 7th. So if he can keep the car clean and try to pull away, he'll be able to not have to worry about Tully, Esperance, and Vaccaro. But you see there's Jameson Huffman and Kyle Robertson right behind him there. So if those cars start to get battle a little bit more, you could see a 5 or 6 car battle for 5th or 7th, excuse me.
Yeah, and I think you may start to see that as we just watched that little battle for a moment there between Tully and Esperance, where Tully in the number 24 machine got very defensive, going down into the toe of the boot, and in doing that and just trying to hold off. Obviously, it goes and impacts and compromises his cornering speeds, and it's going to bring those cars that are behind them up into the mix. And I think we're probably going to see, as if Tully continues to drive like that, we're going to see Jameson Huffman and most likely Kyle Robertson in that battle soon enough. And you can see they're starting to close things down there on the front straight now. All right, let's jump.
Look at this battle for the lead, or battle for third.
Yeah, this is actually the battle now for third, as Morgan Burkhardt and Jordy Fike, they've dropped considerably off of our 2 leaders. Jordy Fike now sitting in 3rd position. He's got the inside line going down to the bus stop with Morgan Burkhardt to the outside. And look at this, Reed Shannabrook trying to make it 3 wide going into the bus stop. Shannabrook having made up a ton of ground. We'll have to see if we can find out what happened to Morgan Burkhardt and Fike to cause them to fall off that battle for the lead. But it is now a 2-car battle at the front. Mitchell Peak, Brennan Horn, as they start to slip away just a little bit from Jordy Fike, Morgan Burkhardt, and Reed Shannabrook.
Yeah, if you're Brennan Horn, that's exactly what you want to see. That way now it's just a 2-car battle for the lead. And speaking of a battle, it's 4 cars here. Jameson Huffman is caught up to the rear end of Vaccaro, and he wants to move up the field a little bit more.
Yeah, and if you take a look over at the driver's side door of Jameson Huffman, it has not been an easy run for him up to 10th. He's got that driver's mirror hanging down, a little bit of damage on the left-hand side of the car, a little bit of rubbing going on. I don't know if that was from another car or maybe from the blue trees here at Watkins Glen International, but he is now all over the back of the number 221 machine of Charles Vaccaro. And we'll see if he can make up. And there he goes. He's going to try to go underneath Vaccaro going into turn 9. Can he make the pass? Can he get it done? He's going to hold Vaccaro to the outside, not give him a lot of room there. But looks like Jameson Huffman Now finally gets that pass done going into turn number 10. Doesn't give up a lot of room to Esperance and Tully just ahead either. As we have just now under 5 minutes remaining in this 20-car, or probably 20-minute battle, the season finale for the eSports Racing League in Mazda MX-5.
A good battle all the way around, and Esperance, you know, one of the newer drivers in the series, doing a really good job at 8th place, and he's got Huffman behind him, and Tully goes wide, so we could see a really good opportunity coming through the S's into the inner loop. We'll see if Remy's going to have a nice little overtaking attempt, but back up to the front of the field, you take a look at Jordy, Fike, Morgan Burkhardt, and Reed Shanderbrook behind him. Side by side is Fike and Burkhardt.
All right, and here we go, and this is the battle for third. Now we see also just ahead of them our two leaders, Mitchell Peak, Brennan Horn, having to make their way through some slower traffic right now. Looks like they just made their way around. Is that Joe Camilleri in the number 6 car? I think they just passed on track. And didn't seem to slow him down all that much. And Camilleri pulls over, lets our drivers by. Camilleri, a Volkswagen, a production Volkswagen driver in real life. Yeah, that was Joe in the 06 machine. Drives a Volkswagen Scirocco in SCCA production car racing. And you know, that battle for third, it looks like they might be making up just a little bit of ground on our leaders, but still, as they are now just about a second and a half back. I think they've fallen out of the draft there. If they're gonna get up back to our leaders with 4 minutes remaining in this 20-minute race, they're gonna have to work together.
Keep in mind, Mitchell Peak ran his quickest lap of the race. Not the quickest lap of the session, but quickest of the overall, but quickest lap for him of this race. And he has yet to get into the 209 bracket, as a couple of drivers have done. But he's running fast right now, and he's running consistent. And if he wants to keep this 0.7 of a second gap, he's got to get moving. But we're back here with Jameson Huffman in 9th, and he's right on that rear end of Tully.
Yeah, and it looks like Esperance got around Sam Tully that last time by, and Morgan Burkhardt and also Charles Vaccaro looking for blood right now as well. We'll see how defensive the number 24 machine of Tully gets. We saw him move to the inside just a little bit a couple laps ago. Oh, and there for a moment, thought Vaccaro was going to move to the inside of Jameson Huffman. Oh, look at this, as all of those drivers run wide through the 90, trying to get things recovered. Now, we also notice, and this might make things very difficult for Jameson Huffman. You'll notice, and I've seen this a couple of times now, where Tully in that number 24 machine having some connectivity issues, kind of blinking in and out there. You just never know where the other car is going to reappear at. You just don't want them to reappear on top of you as they go side by side down into the bus stop. And the 24 car has the position. And Vaccaro trying to come underneath Burkhardt, probably underneath Huffman. Can he get it done? Not quite close enough, and he's going to have to go and try it another way. But Vaccaro getting real racy with Jameson Huffman in that number 89 machine.
Yeah, the time is starting to tick away, and if you want to make a move, Greg, you got to make it now. You want to set your position for that final lap, and we won't quite see the white flag this time by, but sure we'll see it the next time around.
All right, and making that move with time running down, Morgan Burkhardt in the number 40. He gets around Jordy Fike to move Burkhardt up into 3rd position with just about a minute left to go. And as our leaders now, you can see there a couple car lengths up ahead. Mitchell Peak, Brennan Horn go into turn 9 for the last time. They should be clear, be able to get onto the front straight and pass the start-finish line before we hit that 20-minute mark. So we will have one more lap here at Watkins Glen International, one more opportunity for Brennan Horn to get by Mitchell Peak, who has led from the very first lap. Horn was our pole sitter. Mitchell Peak managed to get around him at the inner loop, the bus stop, on the very first lap. And there you go, white flag is in the air, and our leaders going down into turn 1 as we jump back a little further in the field right now. And as we take a look at Tyler Campbell, who won our last race just a little while ago in the Pro Mazdas. He is running 12th. He's got Bryce Evans in the 311 machine right behind him. And now Edgar Sancinelli trying to make a move on Bryce Evans as they go down into turn 1. and Sancinelli not quite close enough, but both Campbell and Evans, they run wide. Now let's go. Oh, look at this. Coming out of the S is going down into the bus stop. 3 wide, the battle for third. And we've got Reed Shannabrook now. He gets around both Morgan Burkhardt and Jordy Fike. And on the very last lap, Reed Shannabrook now moves into third position, moves Burkhardt back in the fourth, Fike in the fifth. Oh, and Jamison Huffman and Sam Tully get together. And Huffman now into the tire wall. And Tully, he's going to drop a couple positions as well as Greg Mack and Remy Esperance get by. Avery, that was a hard hit.
He just went for it in the inner loop, and I don't blame him. It's a white flag of the last points race of the season. You got to go for it. Speaking of going for it, it's Bryce Evans. He's going to try to make a move on your Pro Mazda champion, Tyler Campbell. What a good run for Tyler for running a car that he just doesn't usually race in.
Yeah, absolutely. He's doing a great job tonight in a very large, very difficult field, very competitive field here. Oh, and Evans now with a little bit of issue there at the curbing. Sancinelli trying to get by, cannot get it done. And now side by side, coming up out of nowhere is Greg Brockway trying to make a move. In the number 062 as our leaders now coming into the final corner for the final time. Mitchell Peak, the number 56 machine, he's going to lead our pole sitter Brendan Horan out of the corner and taking the win tonight in Mazda MX-5. Our final round of season 2, Mitchell Peak. Brendan Horan finishes second, and look at this side by side coming across the stripe. Reed Shannabrook, he's going to manage to hold off Morgan Burkhardt. He is going to finish on the third step, the final step of the podium. Morgan Burkhardt will finish in fourth. Jordy Fike comes home in fifth. Greg Mack, great run for him, works his way back up to finish sixth after having been as far back as 10th. Charles Vaccaro will finish in seventh. Kyle Robertson finishing in 8th. Sam Tully will finish in 9th. Tyler Campbell will finish in 11th. Bryce Evans, Beans Forster, Edgar Sancinelli, Greg Brockway, Andrew Wozencroft rounding out the top 15.
Greg,
what an exciting end. Yeah, awesome.
Like,
awesome.
You could battle for the lead, battle for third, battle for whatever position. It was always tight. Man, to finish off the point season at Watkins Glen with a race like this, I mean, you can't get much better than this. But you know what might get a little bit better? The runoffs next weekend or next Tuesday night.
Right. Well, let's not give it all away yet. We'll talk about that a little bit after we interview some of our podium finishers here. Yeah, absolutely. We've got one final winner-take-all battle. That's going to be next week. We'll talk about that in just a few moments here. But again, our podium here in Mazda MX-5, Reed Shannabrook finishing in third in that number 14 machine, the Burton Ernie machine. Brendan Horan in the eSport Racer machine will finish second in the number 45 car, and then his teammate Mitchell Peak takes the win here. Mitchell, he had fallen out of the points battle in MX-5, so great run for him here tonight, getting a little bit of a redemption.
Great job by him.
Let's see. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see if we can get some of our finishers in here to interview. And we're still waiting on them to finish up their cool down laps. But yeah, let's actually, Avery, while we've got a second here, why don't we talk a little bit, and we'll mention it again here in just a few. But next week will be the true wrap up for our second season of the Ray Esports Racing League. We are going to be at Road America for the runoffs. Again, winner take all. This ended up the season points battle, but it is one event, one evening. We're going to have all three of our Ray Esports racing classes. We're going to have the Pro Mazdas, the MX-5s, and we will see the return of the Spec Racer Fords, who for the very first time are going to be in that Gen 3 spec with the new lighter 1.6 liter motors with the bigger brakes. with the new tires and much faster cars, and I hear maybe even a little bit easier to drive. So it should be a great battle there, and we're going to have a special start time. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But Avery, why don't we bring in our winner tonight, driver of the number 56 eSports racing machine, Mitchell.
And Mitchell, I tell you what a run for you. Congratulations on getting the win. And you didn't quite start on the pole, and you had to make a good pass on Brennan to take over the lead. But I mean, what was your mindset going into this race, knowing how crazy it could be?
Well, thanks very much. Yeah, that was crazy right from the very start. You're in for a battle when you go to Watkins Glen. The draft here is so strong; it's really hard to break away from the pack. So, yeah, at the start, I didn't really actually mean to pass Brendan. I gave him a bump, and I want to just kind of push him along the road. And then I guess I bumped him a little too hard. He got a little sideways, so I decided to head out front, and then it was just pure chaos from that point on.
Yeah, absolute chaos was that's a great way to explain it. And about halfway through, you guys kind of maintained a gap. So I mean, from your eyes, that's exactly what you want to see, because when you can get a gap here at Daytona or Watkins Glen or anything with a long straightaway, you're able to kind of breathe a little bit, because every race I've done here at the Glen, it's if you get a chance to breathe and kind of zone out for a little bit, that's always good. And that happened about halfway through.
Yeah, I think it was on maybe lap 5. We were all coming into the bus stop, and Morgan was pushing really hard, and Jordy was right there, and Brendan as well. And we just kind of said, let's see how this goes. I guess we're gonna fight for it on lap 5. And then I guess Jordy and Morgan got pretty close to each other, so Brendan and I were able to get about 1.5 seconds back there. And from that point on, it was just kind of let's see if we can stretch out this gap to third place and make it a 2-horse race. And fortunately, that's what happened. And lucky to come out with the win. Happy to be standing on the top step of the podium talking to you guys for the first time.
I mean, it's great to hear you. I mean, it's always good to have new people on the top step of the podium. But Mitchell, you had a great performance at Watkins Glen, getting that win. And we go to Road America next week for the runoffs. But before we let you go, anybody you'd like to thank?
Definitely a shout out to Apex Racing and Stevie for putting this on for SCCA. It's a whole lot of fun doing this. Really looking forward to next week. With the runoffs. Happy to have a little bit of momentum with the race win moving into the runoff. So let's see what happens. Fingers crossed. Another draft track. So anyone's game.
Anyone's game. That's Mitchell Peak, your race winner here at Watkins Glen for the final points race of the season.
All right, so thank you so much, Mitchell, for joining us. And I don't think we have anybody else from the podium here. So let's go and, we'll go and wrap things up here. As we've mentioned here, we're going to be at the National Park of Speed, Road America, 4 miles and 14 turns of nothing but high speed, and for the MX-5s, nothing but drafting. And actually, it's going to be pretty much the same for all 3 classes. It should be a great time. We do have a special starting time next week. We are going to be starting an hour earlier. We're going to be starting at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So be sure to join us. And again, if you liked what you saw here tonight, please go ahead and give us a thumbs up. I see 10 of you have. Let's maybe make it like 11 or 12 or I don't know, 13. Go ahead and subscribe to Apex Racing TV. Click on that notification bell so you can find out about all the great programming that comes up. And again, want to thank our great sponsors of the Ray Esports Racing League as we wrap up Season 2. We've got RaceVoice and Driver61 on board, and they have been such a big help for us all season long. So for Dennis Branch back behind the scenes, for my announcing partner Avery McDonald, who's been just wonderful all season long, I'm Greg Ginsburg. We'll see you next week at Road America for the runoffs. Thanks for joining us.